Hi, I'm Andy with Reading Teen, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Cristin Terrill, the author of All Our Yesterdays, and I'm really excited that I get the chance to do this, so let's get started.
Hey Andy.
Have you always been a fan of sci-fi and time travel?
I have always been a fan of sci-fi and especially of time travel, but I don't think I really realized how much of a fan I was until recently. When I started writing All Our Yesterdays, I actually had a book out on submission that was a contemporary novel, and I felt like I should stick with contemporary, even though I had this crazy time travel idea that I was in love with. But then I was looking at my bookshelf where I have all my DVDs and TV shows, and I realized that 75% of them were science fiction. I had Battlestar Galactica and Firefly and Doctor Who. That's when I was like, oh, I really am a much bigger sci-fi fan than I realized. And my agent encouraged me to just go ahead and write the story that I really wanted to write, even though it wasn't contemporary. And she pretty much thought, that I was pretty stupid for thinking that I had to stick with contemporary. So thank you for that.
Well, I have to say, I'm really glad that she decided to talk you into writing a sci-fi book because it was pretty awesome. Was it intimidating for you to write?
Writing about time travel should have been intimidating for me, but I didn't realize how hard it was going to be, and so I wasn't scared. I was blissfully ignorant, and if I had known how challenging it would be, I would have been much more intimidated and might not have even done it. So thankfully, I did not know how difficult it was. But there were so many days when I just had to put my head down on my desk and just think, because I would get so confused about, okay, if this happens, then it'll affect this in the past, which affects this in the present, da da da. And there are just so many dominoes. Every little decision that you make impacts the entire story, and I had to, play that out in my head pretty much every time, and it was pretty difficult. So luckily I did not know.
So did you research time travel theories, or did you come up with your own theories?
The time travel theory in All Our Yesterdays is basically my own creation. It's sort of a mix between what's called a dynamic timeline and a multiverse theory, but it's basically just suited to my own purposes, and as far as I know, the rules of time travel in my book are different from anywhere else. I didn't do a lot of research into time travel before writing this book, other than just being a big fan of time travel. So I, had read and watched a lot of movies and TV shows that were about it. But I didn't want to research it too much because I didn't want to be overly influenced by anything I found. So I just kind of went for it on my own.
There was seriously never a dull moment when I was reading this book. It just was so intense. So I was wondering, could you not get the words out fast enough?
I did feel like I couldn't get the words out fast enough a lot of times, but it was more because I was very paranoid. My first book didn't sell largely because it wasn't that good, but also because it was in a little kind of mini genre that had already had its day, and so there was really no room for it on any publishers in their lists. And I was so scared that was going to happen with All Our Yesterdays too. I was afraid that time travel was going to hit and everyone would have acquired their time travel books before I could finish mine and get it out in submission. So I was constantly emailing my agent panicked emails with information about deals that had just been made on time travel books and stuff, which I do not recommend. Do not pay attention to the market because it will drive you crazy. So in that sense, yes, I was rushing to try and get the book done. And some scenes definitely did come to me, all at once, and I couldn't write them down fast enough, but then other scenes were completely pulling teeth. I really struggled to get them down, and now I can't really tell which ones were which hopefully is a good thing, that you can't tell which scenes were absolutely torturous for me to write. So yeah, it was a little bit of both.
My favorite character to read had to be Finn. I just absolutely loved him. Who was your favorite character to write?
My favorite character to write about actually changed about midway through drafting the book. Originally, Em was my favorite, and hers was the point of view that I really liked to write in the most. She was the character who I connected with the best, and I still really love Em, but through the course of writing the book, I kind of had an epiphany about who Marina was. I originally wrote Marina very different. She was very kind of sweet, girl next door, a little shy, and it completely wasn't working at all. In a conversation with my agent, I kind of figured out that she actually has this harder shell and that she's more of a brat and that she uses that kind of as a shield because she has a very surprisingly soft heart. Once I figured that out, I really came to identify with Marina more, and writing her became easier and it became more enjoyable for me. And I think now I probably enjoy Marina the most. I identify with her, but she also challenges me, I think, in ways that M doesn't always. I love her best, even though I think most readers won't, because she is not immediately likable and maybe not likable at all. But I think she's great.
Okay, here's a weird one. If you could take one of your characters on a date, who would you take and where would you go?
I would definitely take out Finn, platonically, of course, because he's 17 and I'm incredibly not, and that'd be gross. But I think Finn would be the most fun just to hang out with. I think we'd have a really good time. And where would I take him? Well, the Maryland State Fair opens next weekend and I can't seem to get anyone to go with me. So I would make Finn take me to the Maryland State Fair. I think we'd have a lot of fun, we'd ride some rides, eat some fried food on sticks. I think it'd be a good time.
Tell us something that you'd just like us to know about you or your book.
The truth is, I'm pretty boring and I've been talking about myself for like weeks now, and I'm so sick of myself that I can't think of a single thing that I want you to know about me. I feel like actually the book is best enjoyed when you know as little about it as possible. Probably the less expectations and the less knowledge you go into the book with, the better. There's already more information about the plot and stuff out there than I ideally would like. So yeah, I don't have anything to tell you about either myself or the book. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Cristin, for taking the time to do this. This was awesome. I loved hearing more about All Our Yesterdays. I can't wait for everybody to read this book.
Thank you so much for doing this.